Salvatore Mineo Jr., later known to the world as Sal Mineo, was born on January 10, 1939, in the Bronx, New York, into a hardworking family of Sicilian immigrants. His parents labored tirelessly to provide stability for their children, instilling discipline and resilience in young Sal from an early age. It quickly became apparent that he possessed a natural inclination toward performance. By the time he was 10 years old, Mineo had already stepped into the demanding world of professional theater, appearing in Broadway productions such as The King and I. This early exposure shaped not only his acting ability but also his understanding of the rigor required to succeed in entertainment. The stage became both a refuge and a proving ground, allowing him to channel his emotional depth into performance. These formative years laid the foundation for a career that would rise quickly, burn brightly, and ultimately be marked by both brilliance and tragedy. Breakthrough role and sudden stardom. Mineo's life changed dramatically when he was cast at just 16 in the film Rebel Without a Cause. Portraying John Plato Crawford, he delivered a deeply emotional performance that resonated with audiences and critics alike. His portrayal of a troubled and lonely teenager struck a cultural nerve, especially during a time when such vulnerability was rarely depicted so openly in cinema. The chemistry between Mineo and his co-stars elevated the film's emotional impact, and his performance earned him an Academy Award nomination for Best Supporting Actor. This recognition made him one of the youngest nominees in that category. Almost overnight, Mineo became a household name, celebrated not only for his talent but also for his striking presence on screen. Yet even as he embraced the spotlight, the role that brought him fame would later contribute to the challenges he faced as he struggled to escape typecasting and redefine his career. Expanding career and artistic recognition. Following his breakthrough, Mineo quickly established himself as a serious actor, capable of handling complex and emotionally demanding roles. Films like Giant, Crime in the Streets, and The Gene Krupa Story showcased his versatility and deepened his reputation in Hollywood. In 1960, he earned a second Academy Award nomination for his performance in Exodus, where he portrayed a Holocaust survivor with remarkable sensitivity and intensity. This role further demonstrated his ability to embody characters marked by pain, resilience, and inner conflict. Despite his growing acclaim, Mineo's career trajectory was not without obstacles. Hollywood's rigid expectations often limited the kinds of roles available to him, particularly as he transitioned out of youthful characters. Nevertheless, his dedication to his craft remained unwavering. He continued to seek roles that challenged him creatively, determined to prove that he was more than a fleeting teen idol and instead a performer of lasting depth. Hollywood pressures and personal identity. As Mineo matured, he encountered increasing resistance from an industry uncomfortable with ambiguity and difference. Rumors surrounding his sexuality began to circulate, and in an era defined by strict social norms, such speculation carried significant professional consequences. Casting opportunities dwindled, and he found himself pushed to the margins of mainstream Hollywood. Despite these challenges, Mineo chose authenticity over conformity in his private life, a decision that required considerable courage given the risks involved. Rather than retreat, he redirected his energy toward theater and directing, where he found greater creative freedom. His involvement in productions that addressed controversial themes demonstrated his willingness to confront difficult subjects head-on. This period of his life reflected both struggle and resilience, as he navigated a career constrained by prejudice while remaining committed to artistic integrity. Mineo's experience highlighted the broader limitations imposed on actors who defied conventional expectations during that time. Reinvention through theater and direction. Determined to reclaim control over his artistic path, Mineo embraced the stage as a space for reinvention. He took on challenging roles and explored directing, proving that his talents extended far beyond acting alone. One notable project was his involvement in Fortune and Men's Eyes, a provocative play that tackled themes of sexuality and institutional violence. By engaging with such material, Mineo demonstrated a fearless commitment to storytelling that reflected real human struggles. His work in theater allowed him to push boundaries and connect with audiences in a more immediate and intimate way. This period marked a significant evolution in his career, as he transitioned from a film star shaped by studio expectations to an independent artist driven by personal vision. Though the path was not easy, it reaffirmed his dedication to meaningful work and set the stage for a potential resurgence that seemed increasingly within reach. Career resurgence and late performances. By the mid-1970s, Mineo began experiencing a renewed wave of recognition. His performance in the stage play P.S. Your Cat is Dead earned critical acclaim and reignited public interest in his work. The role allowed him to explore themes of vulnerability, sexuality, and power, aligning closely with his own life experiences. At the same time, he appeared in television roles that showcased his versatility, including guest performances on popular series. These appearances reminded audiences of his range and depth as an actor, far removed from the youthful roles that had once defined him. Mineo's willingness to embrace complex and sometimes controversial characters underscored his growth as an artist. This period suggested that he was on the brink of a full-fledged comeback, with new opportunities emerging and a renewed sense of purpose guiding his career. For the first time in years, his future in entertainment appeared promising. Complex relationships and emotional bonds. Mineo's personal life was marked by intense and often complicated relationships. One of the most significant was his connection with actress Jill Howarth, whom he met while filming Exodus. Their relationship evolved into a deep but turbulent bond, characterized by both affection and conflict. At one point, they became engaged, reflecting Mineo's attempt to align with societal expectations. However, the engagement ended abruptly after Haworth discovered his involvement with another man. Despite this painful revelation, the two maintained a close friendship, demonstrating mutual respect and understanding. Mineo remained protective of Haworth, sometimes to the point of confrontation, as seen in an incident involving a disagreement over her romantic choices. These dynamics revealed the emotional complexity of his personal life, shaped by love, loyalty, and the challenges of navigating identity in a restrictive era. His relationships were deeply meaningful, even when they were fraught with tension. A private life and lasting partnership. In his later years, Mineo found stability in a long-term relationship with actor and acting coach Courtney Burr III. Their partnership, which lasted several years, provided him with a sense of comfort and companionship that had often eluded him in earlier relationships. Though largely kept out of the public eye, their bond was described by those close to them as deeply supportive and genuine. Burr offered Mineo a safe space to be himself, free from the scrutiny and judgment that had long shaped his public life. This relationship represented a quieter, more grounded chapter, allowing him to focus on his work and personal growth. It also reflected his gradual embrace of his identity, at least within trusted circles. For Mineo, this period was not only about professional resurgence but also about finding emotional balance and authenticity in his personal life. The night of the tragedy. On February 12, 1976, Mineo's life was cut short in a shocking act of violence. Returning home after a rehearsal, he was attacked and fatally stabbed near his apartment in West Hollywood. The suddenness and brutality of the crime stunned both the entertainment industry and the public. At just 37 years old, he was in the midst of a promising comeback, making the loss all the more devastating. Initial theories about the motive ranged widely, from robbery to targeted violence linked to his personal life. However, the lack of clear evidence and conflicting witness accounts complicated the investigation. The limitations of forensic technology at the time further hindered progress. As days turned into months and then years, the case remained unresolved, leaving behind a cloud of uncertainty and speculation. Mineo's death became one of Hollywood's most haunting mysteries, raising questions that would persist for decades.